That was it. I haven't sent anybody, obviously. I sent an email.
We have an exec session tomorrow morning.
Okay. Good grief, we get that every week. I mean,
And by the way, what alcohol was the day that you guys met that afternoon? It was somebody who's at the museum from the Peoria schools pulled a toy gun that looked like a real one, started Instagramming photos. So it took us about 4 hours of police work to figure out that it wasn't a real one.
wow.
Yeah.
I found this article about big box store closings that I thought was interesting. We feel the pain here, but it's not a Peoria thing.
Right. That's good. Thank you.
How are you?
Good. I just turned on channel 22 the other one.
35, Eric's 32,
Look at what
Todd is 29, and Scotty's 26. All of them gainfully employed, thank God. Including Eric. But
Mics are open.
Of explanation this evening. We usually have a council meeting at 6 o'clock, but that's going to be delayed just a little bit. At 6 o'clock this evening, we're going to hold an annual town meeting. So there's 2 short meetings prior to this beginning of the council meeting. So as of this moment, the annual town meeting of the town of the city of Peoria is now called to order. I would ask everyone to rise for a moment of silent reflection and the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first meeting is, I would like to explain that everyone in the room tonight that lives in the township boundaries can vote, and as long as you're a registered voter. You are an elector of the town, and you may assist with making motions and votes on items on this agenda. The first order of business is an election of a moderator. Nominations are open for the position of moderator. Could I have a motion for a moderator?
Sid Rodrigo for chairman.
May I have a second? I have a second. Thank you. Are there any other nominations from the floor? Are there any other nominations from the floor? Seeing none, the nominations are closed. All those in favor of electing Sid Rodrigo as moderator, please raise your hand. Okay. Thank you. All those opposed, please raise your hand. Sid Rodrigo has been elected moderator by a majority vote. Mr. Rodrigo, would you please stand so that I can swear you in? Do you swear to perform the position of moderator of the annual town meeting faithfully and impartially as required by law?
I do.
Thank you. Please take the chair.
It is my pleasure to chair the annual town meeting. Madam Clerk, please read item number 4.
Statement of financial affairs of the town of the city of Peoria with a request to approve. And on the railing is a copy of the financial statement. And if you would wish to read that, you may have a copy.
May I have a motion to receive and file the financial statement? Mr. Grab? May I have a second?
Yes, I move to receive and file that.
To approve.
Okay, thank you. May I have a second? Mr. Sear? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion passes unanimously. Madam Clerk?
Item number 5 is the approval of minutes of the annual town meeting held on April 25th, 2017.
May I have a motion to approve the minutes? Mr. Grab?
Move to approve.
May I have a second? Mr. Sear? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes unanimously. Madam Clerk?
We are at citizens' opportunity to address the electors.
We welcome any general comments. However, pursuant to Public Act 0950761, any matter or proposal not set forth in the published agenda shall not be considered at the annual town meeting other than advising that the matter may be considered at a special meeting of the electors at a later date. Next year, any 15 or more registered voters may request an agenda item for consideration by submitting in writing to the town clerk no later than March 1st prior to the annual town meeting. Are there any general comments from the citizens? Please come forward. And if you would give your name for the record, and please keep your comments to 5 minutes out to the podium in the center.
Yes, my name is General Parker, and I'm coming today to make a comment about your township relief. I've noticed that the mentality, probably of citizens as a whole, when it comes to the poor people, you know, or those that are not as fortunate, that you try to keep pushing them down even further. You want to step on their neck even though they're down. You started a new voucher system. And when I had inquired about that, I was told that it was okay with Reverend Marvin Hightower, although he's not on township. So the next time you make decisions like that, I would appreciate it if you guys would include the people who are closest to the issue so they can have some input, because you make these decisions about these people all the time, but you never get their input. You know, I got a lot of problems with the way that voucher system is set up. You know, you can only spend it at 1 or 2 stores. I was told that a person couldn't go get a suit or a dress clean if they wanted to go to church. If somebody got to catch a cab or do whatever they got to do that takes money, most you'll give them is a roll of quarters. You know, so, I mean, the people are already down. They don't want to feel like they're low class. They want to feel like they're part of this city. But it seems like every opportunity you get, you try to make people feel less than what they really are. So I don't believe that this is going to work the way you got it set up, and I think it's going to increase crime and a lot of other issues. So the next time you do something like this, I would appreciate it if you just include some of the people that are affected by it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Are there any other comments tonight? All right. I would ask for a motion to adjourn. Mr. Graham, seconded by Mr. Euler. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. The annual town meeting of April 10th, 2018 is adjourned. Thank you. Our next item would be our annual meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Township of Peoria. And our microphones are open for roll call.
Chairman Artis, Trustee Akeson, Trustee Sear.
Here.
Trustee Grab.
Here.
Trustee Jensen.
Here.
Trustee Montalongo. Trustee Moore. Trustee Euler. Trustee Riggenbach.
Here.
Trustee Ruckriegel.
Here.
And Trustee Turner.
And I'm here.
Yes, I'm sorry. Trustee Akeson is here, and you have a quorum present, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Will the town clerk please read item number 1?
Item number 1 is a public hearing regarding the 2018-2019 budget for the town of the city of Peoria.
Okay. Trustee Graham?
Open the public hearing.
And a second, Trustee Sear. Are there any items, anybody would like to come forward during the public hearing? Second call for any comments from the public for the public hearing. A third call for anybody who would like to speak to the public hearing. There being none, may I have a motion to close the public hearing? Trustee Graham?
Move to close.
All right. And second? Trustee Akeson? All right. Oh, sorry. I thought I saw your face. All right. Trustee Turner? All right. All in favor? Please cast your ballot.
No, it's a roll call vote.
All right. That passes unanimously. Item number 2.
Item number 2 is the annual report, the draft of this report that's April 1 through 2017 through March 31st, 2018, with a request to receive and file.
Can I get a motion? Trustee Graham?
Chairman, I move to receive and file the preliminary annual report for fiscal year April 1/17 to the 31st of March 18, and request that the final report be brought back to the town board for approval when it is finalized.
Okay, do I have a second? Trustee Sear? Please cast your ballots. Trustee Jensen?
I guess I would appreciate us having an opportunity to review some of these things like this report prior to, I know it's just a motion to receive and file, and I understand that Trustee Grab has asked or has advised that it'll come back for us to vote on a final report, but it is helpful if we have some time ahead of the meeting to review things. So at this meeting, we would have an opportunity to ask questions and get answers, but since we just received it right now, I haven't had time to look through it. So I'm just making, that point. It would be helpful if we could get these in advance so that we can prepare for the meeting and look at it ahead of time.
Thank you. Trustee Akeson?
Thank you. I'm going to echo what Councilwoman Jensen said, or Trustee Jensen said, and beyond that, I do not use paper copies of the agenda, and so everything that I review is electronic, and it's not on my iPad. Is that just because, what's the explanation for that? I don't understand.
That explanation is that it was posted on the township website, and we don't usually do the township on the city website if we can help it. So it was there, the entire packet. And just a note also that these reports, our township year end was March 31st, and our accountants were scrambling to get this draft report together, and that's why we didn't even get it until late Friday, and so we were scrambling to get it together. So that's why of the lateness, and they just had a few days. So they've been over in the township office all week trying to get the figures together. So this is a draft, so the final will be coming later. Okay.
Great. Trustee Graham?
Move to approve.
Okay. And
move to approve the receipt and filing of the preliminary annual report, and the comments that we're critiquing the process are on target, and we'll do better next time.
great, thank you. And seconded by Trustee Sear. Please cast your ballots. Passes unanimously. Thank you. Item number 3.
Item number 3 is the resolution regarding premiums for health care provided to township elected officials and employees.
Okay. Motion, Trustee Graham.
Move to approve.
Okay. And a second. Trustee Sear. Any comments? Trustee Jensen.
Thank you. I'm not sure who to direct this question to. Probably maybe Mr. Nickteen, because it's not in the resolution here. I'm just wondering what the total cost is for the premiums for health care provided to the township elected officials and employees, because it's not in the actual resolution. Have an estimate.
That is, but the policy is the same as that of the city and the same as the policy in which the council would pay for those who are elected officials, as well as full-time officials. Employees who are part-time do not receive health care. So it's identical to that of the city. That's the importance, the purpose of the resolution, so that the health care resolution matches that of what is before the city side. And that's all you're approving. It's not a budget item, it's a resolution.
Right, but I'm just curious. I would like to know, and for the public to know what that total cost is, why we're approving a resolution to go ahead and do it. So can you get us that number?
Sure, but as I said, the resolution is that the policy, the health care policy, mirrors that of the city. It's not a budget issue, it's a resolution.
I understand that, but I would like to have that information.
We'll get it for you.
For the public and for myself. Thank you.
Any other comments? There being none, please cast your ballots. Passes unanimously. Item number 4.
Item number 4 is a resolution consenting to the employment of Heil Royster as town attorneys with a request to approve, and I'll call your attention to a green handout on your desk.
All right. Trustee Graham.
Mr. Moderator, Mr. Chairman, I move to approve.
Okay. Second by Trustee Jensen. Any discussion? There being none, please cast your ballots. Passes unanimously. Item number 5.
Item number 5 is a resolution for the town of the city of Peoria authorizing township officials to continue a loss control policy with TORMA and to enter into a contract of insurance with a request to approve.
Okay. Trustee Graham.
Yes, I'd like to call on our counsel for the township to give us a little overview on this particular item.
Okay. Right, try that one now.
This one? This on? Okay, thank you. Well, this relates to a risk management organization called TORMA. Some of you may be familiar with it. It's the Township Officials of Illinois Risk Management Association. And what it does is provide 2 townships across the state of Illinois fairly comprehensive offerings of insurance through this organization. Many of the townships in Illinois and highway districts in Illinois are part of this organization. So each year, at least I understand, I've not come to these meetings in some years, but I anticipate that each year what's happened is that the Board of Town Trustees has been asked to enter into this arrangement with this organization. So that's what this is again. The township supervisor and town clerk sign the documents, and therefore you'll see in the resolution it states that they are authorized to do so. As far as the recitals are concerned, It states it's necessary for the town to make coverage more uniform and complete. Simply what it's attempting to do is to say that in this case it's deemed by the township trustees that it's appropriate to enter into a broad array of coverage for the township. And I hope that that answers your questions, Trustee Grave. If not, I bet.
It does. Thank you.
Unfortunately, we have this meeting required to have it once a year, this full dress meeting, and I think that many of the trustees really are not as conversant as they should be with the operation of our township government, even though it is very essential. And there are dollars that are allocated, and I certainly would like to ask you while we're on this right now, is there any way we can avoid the rushing around into the year to our actual meeting here so that all the data that we're reviewing right now could be to us before the actual meeting itself?
I think that it's difficult sometimes to do it. I hearken to some of the trustees' comments earlier today, Trustee Jensen and Trustee Akeson, about raising the question, for example, a good question, I thought, about the preliminary financial report and why it's difficult to get that in advance. There are certain things about township government that frankly are somewhat difficult. The year ends March 31. We're having this meeting in April. There's no way, obviously, you get a final report in from an accountant prior to the date. So some of these issues like this, too, they ask that they take place and be decided upon at the annual meeting. Some of this information comes in somewhat late, and so it is difficult at times to not appear that one is rushing around to get this information. The only way that I could address your potential question, or I guess address a resolution to your question, Trustee Graham, is to suggest that at particular times during the year that there be a discussion. I know you're all pretty busy, and I know that these meetings are very busy, but to have a discussion about different aspects of township government might be good for the council, it might be good for the citizens as well. I know that you don't want me to drone on like I did the last time very often at meetings, but I'd be happy to come and talk about township government at any time so that when we get to a meeting like this, things don't seem so rushed. I hope that responds to your question.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Esquire Bershey. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Trustee Akeson?
Thank you. Is it possible for us just to move the meeting so that it's not so close, so that we have all the information? Wait till we get the information, then schedule the meeting? Trustee Greb shaking his head yes, and...
Fortunately, it's set by statute.
Oh, it's set by statute. So this is designed to make it impossible for us to have the information and for the citizens to know the information.
No, I don't think so. I appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that people might feel at this meeting that things are somewhat rushed. But having said that, I think and I don't. Let me say this. I think that to the extent a person understands township government and why it operates the way that it does, it's better. One can understand why this happens as it does in early April. I think that I can't speak for the legislature and why the legislature, perhaps a century or more ago, set this meeting when it did, because that's how far this dates back. And I can't speak for what those people had in mind in the mid-1800s or late 1800s when they set this for the time that it was. I don't think it was intended to rush people. I don't think it was intended to keep information from people. And frankly, the concept that it takes longer than, today's the 10th of April, that it takes longer than 10 days to prepare a complex financial report, all of you can appreciate is not really out of line. Again, I suggest that if it would be appropriate, and I think maybe Trustee Jensen suggested this, that when the final report is prepared, there be a full discussion. And again, I'd be happy to come back and address anything in the financial report at that time, and I'm sure that the folks from the accounting firm would be happy to do that too. But the legislature sets the meeting. Why they did that in the 1800s is anybody's guess. Frank, well, I'm going to say nothing more about that. So.
Any additional comments? Okay, there being none, please cast your votes.
Yeah.
Passes unanimously. Item number 6.
Item number 6 is a resolution authorizing the town of the city of Peoria to enter into a payroll services agreement with ADP LLC with a request to approve.
Trustee Graham?
I move to approve.
Okay, and a second. All right. Trustee Montalongo? All right, any comments? There being none, please cast your ballots. Passes unanimously. Item number 7.
Is a resolution authorizing the town of the city of Peoria to enter into an agreement with the Heartland Clinic with a request to approve and to also receive and file the 2017 statistical report.
Trustee Graham?
Mr. Chairman, I enthusiastically move to approve this. Heartland does a lot to help our citizens, especially those who need our assistance, and this is a very good cause for many of our citizens who would be lacking in health care otherwise. So I enthusiastically move to approve that resolution.
Okay. Do I have a second? Trustee Jensen? Any discussion? There being none, please cast your ballots. Passes unanimously. Item number 8.
Is a resolution authorizing the town of the city of Peoria to make a donation to the Center for Prevention of Abuse with a request to approve and to receive and file the 2017 report.
Trustee Graham?
And this helps many of our folks who need mental health services. I enthusiastically move to approve this.
Great. Do I have a second? Okay. Trustee Jensen, any discussion? There being none on this item, please cast your ballots. Passes unanimously. Item number 9.
Isn't the annual town budget and appropriation ordinance for 2018-2019 with a request to adopt.
Trustee Graham?
Move to approve.
Second by Trustee Euler. Any discussion? There being none, please cast your votes. Passes unanimously. Next item.
Item number 10 is a resolution consenting to the employment of RSM US LLP as outside independent auditors with a request to approve.
Trustee Graham?
Because of the need for oversight, I enthusiastically move to approve.
Okay. Seconded by Trustee Montalongo. Any discussion? There being none, please cast your votes. That item passes unanimously. Item 11
is a resolution designating individuals to prepare the budget and appropriation ordinance for fiscal year 2019-2020 with a request to approve.
Trustee Graham?
Move to approve.
Okay, second. Trustee Turner? Any discussion? There being none, please cast your votes. That passes unanimously. Next item.
Item 12 is a resolution designating the time, place, and date of the 2019 annual town meeting with a request to approve.
Trustee Graham?
Move to approve.
And a second. Trustee Sear, any discussion? There being none, please cast your votes. And that passes unanimously. Madam Clerk, we would be at new business.
That's correct. Yes, we're at new business. Sorry.
Is there any new business to come before the township? Okay. There being no business, we'd be at citizens' opportunity to address the town board. Would any citizens like to come before the town board to speak? Do a second call for any citizens who would like to speak before the town board. And a third and final call. Okay. There being none, we would be at a motion to adjourn. Okay. Trustee Euler, seconded by Trustee Jensen. Please cast your votes. That passes unanimously. Thank you. With that, we would like to call the meeting of the Peoria City Council to order. Welcome to all of those in attendance tonight and to our listening audience at WCBU, as well as those that are watching us on Cable Channel 22. All mics are open. Please call for roll call.
Mayor Ardis, Councilmember Akeson.
Present.
Councilmember Sear. Councilmember Grab.
Here.
Councilmember Jensen. Here. Councilmember Montalongo. Councilmember Moore. Councilmember Euler.
Here.
Councilmember Riggenbach. Councilmember Ruckriegel.
Here.
Councilmember Turner.
Present.
You have a quorum present, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Would everybody please stand for a moment of silence and special remembrance to our firefighter that we've lost, Nick Renner, and his family, and then for our Pledge of Allegiance. Somehow I knew that would happen. Thank you, everybody. And tonight we have a couple of proclamations that I think show a lot of things that are going on in our city and a lot of good that the city is rallying around. So please bear with us as we go through, because I think we're going to hit on a lot of important topics. And if I could invite 3rd District Councilman Riggenbach up with me, and we would like to invite those with Sheridan Nursery to come up. And our first is really a double appreciation. One, for the Peoria Small Business Excellence Award, and then also for a proclamation from the mayor. And you know what? Can I have a little help? Would somebody want to come up here and hold this for us? Tonight we recognize another small business and one that's achieved a monumental anniversary with over 80 years in business, Sheridan Nursery Incorporated. And I think that as we're all kind of hoping for spring to be just around the corner each and every day, it's when we start to see Sheridan Nursery starting to move their flowers out that we know that it's within sight, and so we look forward to that each and every year. But the story of Sheridan Nursery began when the Lowe family started the business, which was later purchased by the Pugsley family. Grandfather Harry Dixon, after working at the post office full-time, taking a part-time employment at the nursery, purchased the business in the late 50s, not only leaving the post office, but establishing a legacy that would be carried through for future generations. When Harry passed away in 1968, his wife Nancy took it over, and she later sold it to her sons Joel and John in 1975. Under the ownership of Joel and John, the company grew, and they expanded into their second location in North Peoria and Dunlap in 1996. It was in 2013 when current owners Mark, son of John, and Scott, the son of Joel, purchased the business from their fathers, marking the third generation of the Dixon family to run the company. The company has since expanded to incorporate landscaping service, and during the peak season, they employ up to 30 people. They attribute their success to hiring wonderful people who get to know the customers year after year. Many shoppers go straight to Paula, who started working for Dixon family right out of college and has been with them for decades. Key to their 80 years of success is the high level of customer service, the Sheridan Nursery staff believing in listening to the customers and building relationships that get passed on from generation to generation. On behalf of the City of Peoria, I want to thank the Dixon family on their investment in our community and congratulate them on their 80 years in business. Thank you.
On behalf of myself and my partner and cousin Scott and the entire Dixon family, we'd just like to give a big thanks out to all the community support over the years through Peoria and surrounding communities. If that support wasn't there, we wouldn't be here today. So once again, the support from the citizens of Peoria and the entire area is really what drives our company, and we just want to say thank you.
And I know Councilman Regenbach would like to come up and say a couple of words.
Thank you, Councilman Regal. We talk a lot about shopping local and the importance of it. I think for any of you that have shopped local here at Sheridan Nursery, you understand that concept, and it's not just something we talk about, but it's something that we really appreciate. I think a lot of you have heard me say in the past, my wife is from Switzerland, so she loves red geraniums. Well, if you want true red geraniums, the Sassy Red at Sheridan Nursery are by far the reddest in town. Thank you, guys.
And I think it seems only fitting, since we've got two of the third generation here tonight, that we have a double ceremony. And so with that, I've also got a proclamation from Mayor Jim Artis. And it reads, whereas the City of Peoria is proud to celebrate the 80th anniversary of Sheridan Nursery Incorporated, and whereas when Grandfather Harry left the post office to purchase the nursery, he was not only following a dream, but providing a family-owned business where, over the decades, the returning customers would become like family. And whereas John and Joel Dixon purchased the business in 1975, later selling to their sons Mark and Scott in 2013, and whereas when you grow up in a family business, the business becomes a part of every member of the family. And whereas as a locally owned business, the Dixon family not only reinvests in Peoria, but donates to area charities that benefit the youth of our community. And whereas Sheridan Nursery has survived challenges brought on by a changing retail landscape and a fluctuating business environment to provide exemplary customer service to the community. And whereas as a locally owned business, Sheridan Nursery has built a solid reputation for 80 years by selling quality products and offering expert advice. And whereas Sheridan Nursery couldn't have accomplished any of this without its world-class employees who share the Dixon family dedication to excellence. Now therefore I, Jim Artis, Mayor of the City of Peoria, Illinois, do hereby recognize and celebrate the Dixon family and Sheridan Nursery Incorporated on their 80th anniversary in Peoria, Illinois, dated this 10th day of April, 2018. Round of applause.
Once again, I'd just like to say thank you.
Thank you all. And thank you for being here. And again, we look forward to spring being right around the corner. So yes. Next up, we have Hands Across the Courthouse. Is Pam? Whereas child abuse in a community is a community problem, and finding solutions depends on the involvement of people throughout the community. And whereas child abuse and neglect can cause traumatic, psychological, emotional, and physical harm, which can lead to poor outcomes, including detrimental behaviors and mental and physical illnesses for children and adults. And whereas most cases of child abuse are never reported and children suffer in silence waiting for someone to save them. And whereas effective child abuse prevention programs succeed because of partnerships created among families, social service agencies, schools, religious and civic organizations, law enforcement agencies, and the business community. And whereas the Youth Services Network panel, in partnership with Peoria County Government, is hosting the 10th annual Hands Across the Courthouse event on April 20th, 2018 to raise awareness for child awareness prevention. And whereas it is our hope to help eradicate the 1,016 child abuse and neglect cases currently pending in Peoria County. Now therefore I, Jim Artis, Mayor of the City of Peoria, Illinois, do hereby recognize April as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Peoria, Illinois, dated this 10th day of April 2018. Pam, would you like to come up?
Thank you very much. I'm Pam Perellis with CASA, Peoria County, and I have with me Jeff Gress from Crittenden's Home. We both are part of the Youth Service Network panel that meets monthly to all agencies that are working with youth. And this is a great way that we can collaborate this important message to our community in April, which is Child Abuse Prevention Month. The great need in our community. As was read in the proclamation, there are over 1,000 pending cases of abuse and neglect in our courtrooms. And so it really does take a community to help these children thrive and become better citizens throughout these horrible situations. Jeff, do you want to say anything? You did fine. Okay. So we hope that you will all join us next Friday at noon, April 20th, at the courthouse for Hands Around the Courthouse. It's a brief awareness. The judges will come out and talk about the great need in our community, and it's a great way for us to really lift these children up. So thank you.
And thank for both of your work for what you do for Crittenden Center and for CASA. Next up is our Skip the Straw proclamation. Do we have, there we go. Whereas roughly 500 million straws are used in the United States per day, and whereas there are over 5.3 trillion pieces of plastic afloat in our rivers, lakes, and oceans, and whereas by the year 2050, it is forecast that there will be more plastics than fish in our rivers, lakes, and oceans, and whereas single-use plastic straws, when irresponsibly discarded, pose an environmental hazard to our health, safety, and welfare of our citizens of Peoria, as they end up in the landfill or our waterways, negatively impacting water quality and aquatic life. And whereas straws made of paper, plant, vegetable, or other natural materials are available and are a more environmentally friendly alternative to plastic straws. And whereas April 23rd, 2018 is the 26th annual Sun Foundation Clean Water Celebration, which will focus on the choices we make daily about single-use plastics. I challenge our citizens to choose to skip the single-use plastic straw or use an alternative straw whenever available. Now, therefore, I, Jim Artist, Mayor of the City of Peoria, Illinois, do hereby recognize April 23, 2018, as Skip the Straw Day in Peoria, Illinois, dated this 10th day of April, 2018.
Thank you very much. As Sid said, this is the 26th annual Clean Water Celebration. Our theme this year is to bring awareness to the problem of plastic pollution and plastic debris in our rivers and our oceans and our seas. And it takes a first step, and the community action part of that this year is Skip the Straw. And we have over 45 restaurants, schools, and businesses that are participating in this. And it's basically very easy. They just don't serve straws that day unless people request them. It's a small step, but the plastic pollution is going to be a huge problem. It's beginning to be. There are big plastic garbage patches out in our oceans, the Five Gyres, and this is a small step, but every good project has to start with that first step, and this is ours. So please skip the straw on April 23rd and help do your part to help the fight against plastic pollution. Thank you so much.
I'm Eric Larson with Illinois American Water. We've been partners with the Sun Foundation since the beginning of the Clean Water celebration and partners with Skip the Straw. It seems like a small thing, but it adds up if we all take action, and it doesn't stop with the straw. If you think your grocery bags, using recyclable bags or bags you can use over and over again, it'll make a big impact. So thank you. I hope to see you for the Clean Water Celebration. It's Sunday, the 22nd. There's the event down by the riverfront. It's pretty awe-inspiring. I was there last year, and I encourage everybody to come. Thank you.
And I think this is a perfect activity. People go often, what can I do? What can one person do? Well, I think this really shows what the action of one person can do to add up into that larger picture. So please remember to skip the straw or request environmentally friendly straws to restaurants you go to. Let's have this conversation as a community and see if we can make our difference. Next up, we'll have Grandparent Alienation Day and Parent Alienation Day. And if Councilman Euler would join me. And we have two proclamations, so we'll read both of these, and then we'll have you do some notes if you'd like. Our first one is, whereas strong family relations constitute the foundation of our community. whereas alienation is a term used to describe any number of behaviors and attitudes on the part of one or both parents designed to interfere, damage, or destroy the relationship between a child and family members. And whereas alienation behaviors are frequently present in high conflict divorces, separations, asymmetric custody arrangements, as well as intact marriages, often causing mental and emotional anguish to children. And whereas mental health professionals agree that the negative effects of alienation can follow a child into adulthood with tragic consequences. And whereas Grandparent Alienation Awareness Day seeks to recognize the rights of grandparents, as well as highlight the negative effects of not being involved in the lives of their grandchildren. And whereas Grandparent Alienation Awareness Day is also intended to increase the knowledge and understanding of this problem to help families, institutions, the legal and mental health communities, and leaders to better identify and combat such abusive behaviors to children. Now therefore I, Jim Martis, Mayor of the City of Peoria, Illinois, do hereby proclaim April 25th, 2018 as Grandparent Alienation Awareness Day in Peoria, Illinois, dated this 10th day of April, 2018.
Actually, it's June 17th for grandparent.
Okay. So we've got a correction on there. It is June 17th. Okay. And we will.
Parental alienation is April 25th.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, you did right.
Thank you on that. Yeah. We'll get that one corrected for you. And then our second proclamation, whereas Parent Alienation Awareness Day is celebrated to spread the simple message that children need and should be allowed to give and receive the love of both of their parents and extended families. And whereas behavior such as speaking negatively about a parent to or in front of a child can destroy the bond between a loving parent and child. And whereas with awareness comes education, understanding, and the power to stop the abuse of innocent children caught in the crossfire of the people they love. And whereas this year is the 13th Annual Parent Alienation Awareness Day, and the caring citizens of our community will gather together, joining others around the world in blowing bubbles for 10 minutes on April 25th, 2018, to show their support in spreading the simple message of love for all children. Now, therefore, I, Jim Martis, Mayor of the City of Peoria, Illinois, do hereby proclaim April 25th, 2018 as Parent Alienation Awareness Day in Peoria, Illinois, dated this 10th day of April, 2018. Mary, would you like to say a couple of words?
I won't say much. Had some dental work, so I want to say, though, that this has far-reaching effects into society with these kids who are suffering this alienation. General? No, I'm going to make you speak.
Hello, I'm General Parker, and I know sometimes they do a lot here, and some things go in your ear and right out the ear, but this proclamation here is definitely affects everybody. Even if you're not going through it, you end up running into people who are suffering from this. 15 years ago, I went through a divorce, and it got really, really, really terrible, and not just for me, I mean for my son. So I haven't seen him in years, and at the same time, I got 7 grandchildren in Detroit that I've never seen. The 2 older ones, they reached out to me on Facebook, did Facebook Live, you know, because they wanted to know their grandfather, you know, but you know, when you put that into a child's mind, you're doing nothing but hurting that child, you know, and that's abuse. That's emotional abuse. And we here in the city and all the other citizens have to deal with the pathologies of you trying to keep a child away from the other parent or the grandparent, because that's a whole nother side of that person. So I want to thank you guys for coming out. We hope you be there on the 25th of this month, and if you're there, then we'll ask you to come to Grandparents' Day the next month. But we really do appreciate you and appreciate you guys taking this time, and thank you, Sid, thank you, Mayor Artis, and thank you, Mr. Orler. Appreciate you.
Thank you all. I just wanted to make a couple of comments. This is something that's near and dear to my heart. As many of my colleagues around the Horseshoe know, that my grandparents played a pretty instrumental role in my life as a result of a broken and challenging growing up environment. And just to point out what an instrumental role that grandparents can have in their grandchildren's lives and how important that is to our community and raising kids. And so thank you both for coming up here and what you do.
Next up, we have Bring Light to the Fight. Whereas, as of April this year, the Peoria Police Department have documented 48 cases of opioid overdoses in Peoria. Born out of a need for awareness of this epidemic, 4 Bradley University students established the Opioid Prevention Agency, TOPA, and began a campaign called Bring Light to the Fight to educate Peoria residents on the opioid epidemic and encouraging breaking the stigma surrounding substance abuse. And whereas many people are unaware of the resources available to those struggling with drug addiction, therefore, TOPA, along with the Invictus Woods Endowment Corporation and CT Gabbard, will be hosting the Bring Light to the Fight event on Saturday, April 14th, 2018, from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock at CT Gabbard, located at 1323 Southwest Adams Street. And whereas the event, which is free and open to the public, will offer free Narcan training, CPR training, sexual health screening, safe sex kits, free music, a silent auction, raffles, free food, and an unveiling of a mural that will display the vital message of awareness. And whereas TOPA promotes the importance of distributing educational resources and also supports establishing an open and receptive community. For more information, visit their Facebook page, Bring Light to the Fight. Now, therefore, I, Jim Artis, Mayor of the City of Peoria, Illinois, do hereby recognize TOPA, Invictus Woods, and CT Gabbard Construction on their work with Bring Light to the Fight event in Peoria, Illinois, dated this 10th day of April, 2018. Thank you.
All right. Guess I'll speak here. Okay, well, thank you for the platform. Basically, this whole thing started with these 4 Bradley seniors and their capstone project. And I saw them milling around the parking lot, and we have a platform there that a lot of people see. Just this last week, they were out there counting cars, and it was a ridiculous amount of people that go through that intersection. So we realized that's a pretty good location to unveil a new mural, and on this new mural that will be on the side of our building are people who have been involved with this process throughout, whether it's some people that have been addicted, people's relatives that are still alive, but the people have overdosed, and children of addicts. So I got into this thing thinking, just trying to help them out with their project, and it could be good for the community. But after you dig farther into this, you realize this is a lot bigger problem than you think it is. So we're just happy to be able to provide a platform for this to be had, and also to let everyone know that it's more or less a big get-together for the community, and there'll be police there, the firemen will be doing CPR, we'll have a mobile testing lab. It's just an open platform for people to come out and find out more information about this whole epidemic and everything that goes along with it. So, appreciate it.
They forced me into it. The sooner that we can stop the stigma and make people realize that it's a disease, it will really, really help this problem. So we hope to see you on Saturday. 2 to 4.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. And again, I think this shows the wonderful partnership that our community can pull together when we've got Bradley, students, business, and our community being able to reach out together, to be able to really remove the stigma of a conversation that we need to have. Thank you for your work on this, and look forward to seeing you on Saturday. Next up, we have Keep Peoria Beautiful. Whereas, on Saturday, April 28th, 2018, Keep Peoria Beautiful will sponsor the 20th Annual Great American Cleanup. And whereas the Great American Cleanup is a national effort by Keep America Beautiful affiliates and is the largest organized litter campaign cleanup in which millions of volunteers all across the country participate to pick up litter, to recycle, and to beautify their community. And whereas Keep Peoria Beautiful gets hundreds of volunteers each year to commit their time to a citywide spring cleanup in an effort to make Peoria a cleaner, greener, and more beautiful city. And whereas, in addition to the litter cleanup, Keep Peoria Beautiful will also be collecting and recycling old tires, batteries for our community. Now therefore I, Jim Artis, Mayor of the City of Peoria, Illinois, do hereby proclaim April 28th, 2018 as Keep Peoria Beautiful Great American Cleanup Day in Peoria, Illinois, dated this 10th day of April, 2018. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mayor Artis and council members, for your support of our 20th annual Keep Peoria Beautiful Great American Cleanup. We are the local affiliate for Keep America Beautiful, and we've been around for more than 60 years. We are a volunteer not-for-profit organization established to improve the environment of Peoria through beautification, litter prevention, waste reduction, recycling, and education. We would like to encourage everyone to come out on Saturday, April 28th for this citywide spring litter cleanup. To register for supplies, you just need to go to our website, keeppeoriabeautiful.org. Like he mentioned, we'll be collecting electronic waste, tires, and batteries this year. So we provide all of the trash bags, gloves, and supplies that you need, and you choose the area that you want to clean up. Last year, we collected over 50,000 pounds of litter and waste. We also collected and recycled over 15,000 pounds of electronic waste. And this year, we are thrilled to welcome the Tireless Project, who will be kicking off their tire recycling for this year at our event. So again, if you would like to participate, just go to our website to register, and we hope to see everyone there. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Next up would be our minutes. Are there any corrections or changes to the minutes? Councilman Grab?
Approve the minutes of the regular joint city council and town board meeting held on March 27th, 2018 as printed.
Great. Seconded by Councilman Sear. Any discussion? There being none, please cast your ballots. That passes unanimously. We would now be at our consent agenda.
The first item on consent is 18093, which is a request to accept the low bid of Autobahn in the amount of $1,789,959, which is a base bid of $1,627,236 plus 10% for contingency for the Harvard Avenue Phase 2 project, War Memorial Drive to Purdue Street. And I will point out that you have a yellow handout on your desk that makes a slight correction. 18-094 is a request to approve a renewal of an agreement with GIMAX Landscape for 1 year for the landscape stewardship and maintenance project to December 31, 2018, not to exceed $150,000. 18-095 is a request to approve the First Amendment to Master Professional Services Agreement 16-119D with Crawford Murphy Tilley Incorporated for a not-to-exceed amount of $250,000 extension for design, engineering, and other various services in 2018. 18-096 is a communication from the City Manager and Director of Public Works with a request for the following, and there are 3 parts. A is to approve a contract with Peoria Metro Construction for the structural repairs of the Niagara Jefferson Twin Towers and the One Technology parking decks in an amount not to exceed $1,706,210. B is to approve a contract with J.C. Dillon to provide directional boring and the installation of 2-inch PVC conduit and electrical handholds to allow city staff to install fiber optic line to Niagara Jefferson and One Technology parking decks for the parking control equipment in an amount not to exceed $58,445. And C is a request to adopt an ordinance amending the City of Peoria 2018-2019 biennial budget relating to the capital fund to recognize the receipt of $11,306 from the technology deck escrow account and the corresponding expenditure to provide directional boring and the installation of 2-inch PVC conduit and electrical handholds for this facility. And item C has a handout on yellow on your desk also. 18-086 is a communication from the City Manager and Community Development Director with a request to adopt an ordinance amending Chapter 5 of the Code of the City of Peoria relating to fees. 18-097 are appointments by Mayor Ardis to the Downtown Advisory Commission with a request to concur of John Needy. 18-098 is a request to approve the committee report, which are the policy session minutes regarding waste collection services, and that completes your consent agenda.
Thank you. Are there any items to remove from consent agenda tonight? Councilman Jensen?
18094 and 18096.
All right. Any other items? There being none, can I get a motion to approve by Councilmember Riggenbach, seconded by Councilmember Turner? Please cast your ballots. Right. That passes unanimously. We'd be at 18094.
That's correct, and that is a request to approve the renewal of an agreement with GIMAX Landscape.
Councilmember Jensen?
Councilman Ruckriegel, or I guess Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. I have just one question. For Director Reese, I noticed that we're expanding some of the services that GMAX will be doing under this landscape and property maintenance project. And my question is, whether this will include the roadside weed spraying and the median weeds and the guardrail weed spraying and maintenance. Will that also include maintaining some of the, like the rain gardens at Maine and University, as well as the flower pots at Maine and University and Sheridan and Maine and that kind of thing?
It includes some of that. The Park District does the initial planting for us, and then Dimex will do some of the maintenance, and then they're also teaming up with Peoria to maintain those, our Peoria Corps to maintain those also.
Okay, because I know that you know that I've raised that concern a number of times, so I think this is good if they're going to be able to include that as part of their services as well, to make sure that those are kept up and maintained in a better manner than they have been.
They will be our primary maintainers, and the Peoria Corps, they're just assisting. Peoria Corps is assisting them with that, and the training exercise.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I'll move to approve.
Okay, do we have a second? Councilman Euler? All right. Any other discussion? There being none, please cast your ballots. That passes unanimously.
18-096 are the three items that pertain to the Niagara Jefferson Twin Towers and the One Technology parking decks.
Okay. Councilmember Jensen?
Thank you. I have a question regarding the fact that the bid came in much higher. The one that the lowest bid is much higher than the available funding. So I'm wondering, Director Reese, if you can explain how that will work and whether we know if Peoria Metro Construction will accept the lower amount.
Thank you. So we've had a discussion with Peoria Metro. They will accept the lower dollar amount of work. How we led this project is basically we went through each deck and evaluated a best case scenario for partial depth patching that we would do, and that's how we let the contract out, knowing that we probably didn't have enough funding to do all of it. And the contract was written to scale it back to just have the funding match the available, or the work match the available funding that was there.
Okay, so they're going to be doing less work than what was originally proposed or intended? Okay, thank you. I'll move to approve.
Okay. Seconded by Councilman Sear. Any other comments? There being none, please cast your ballots. Right. That item passes unanimously.
And that would be for item A. So if we could have two more votes, B and C separately. Thank you.
Okay. Second by Council Member Sear. Any comments on item B? There being none, please cast your ballots. That item passes unanimously. And for item 3.
I move to approve 18096C.
Okay. And seconded by Councilmember Sear. Any comments on item C? There being none, please cast your ballots. Councilmember Akeson? There it goes. All right. Thank you. That passes unanimously. All right. Next up, we would be at first readings.
Yes. First reading 18-099 is a request for a first reading review of an ordinance amending Appendix A of the Unified Development Code of the City of Peoria relating to multifamily residential dwellings in office, commercial, and industrial zoning districts.
Okay. All right. Director Black?
This is a pretty straightforward text amendment to the Unified Development Code, which adjusts the process.
Try that one. Try it now. Yep, there you go. Okay. Thank you. This is a relatively straightforward text amendment for the Unified Development Code that adjusts the process in which multifamily development occurs in our commercial, office, and industrial districts. With the current ordinance, multifamily development in the O1, CN, C1, CG, C2, I1, and I2 districts, so our general office, commercial, and industrial districts are permitted by right. This adjustment, if adopted by the council, would shift that approval process to a special use process. So apartments, multifamily development would still be allowed within these districts, but would have to go through the special use public hearing process and come before council for final decision. Okay. Councilmember Graham.
Director Black, what do you need? A motion to receive and file? First reading.
Yes, sir.
So move.
Okay. And a second by Councilman Euler. Any other comments, questions for Director Black? There being none, please cast your ballots. Councilmember Jensen? Oh, no problem. Okay. Passes unanimously. We would then be at regular business.
We don't have any regular business items tonight, but we would be at unfinished business 18-018, which is a request to adopt an ordinance amending Chapter 18 of the Code of the City of Peoria pertaining to massage establishments.
Okay. Do we have somebody who would like to? Councilmember Graham.
Thank you very much. I generally view it as a sign of some kind of defect in how well organized we are to have to defer and defer and defer. However, there's always the irony of unintended consequences, and before we push too hard on this, we want to be sure exactly where it's going to end up. And I do want to say that I feel our staff, and certainly our legal staff, has done yeoman's work trying to get input from all affected stakeholders and respond also to the need to get some regulation here in this town where these establishments are multiplying like you wouldn't believe. And we're trying to get it right. And Esquire Leist, if you could just elaborate just a little bit on that. And, you know, I was pressing him to have something ready for us by tonight, but a little bit more fine-tuning, and then I think I can in good conscience ask all of you to unanimously vote yes.
Thank you, Councilmember Graham. As Councilman Graham said, the legal department has met with a variety of parties who are interested in this ordinance. We have met with the Center for Prevention of Abuse. We have met with representatives from various massage associations, as well as their attorneys. And furthermore, we have all spoken to local massage therapists relative to this regulation and this ordinance. The goal for everyone is to stop the tide of the trafficking situation while still allowing massage establishments, which are extremely reputable and have been in our community for some time, the ability to thrive and flourish in our community. As I said, the massage therapist organizations have been very understanding of what the council is trying to do, and they, of course, want the same thing and want the same results. We have consistently met with them, and they have provided us some suggestions that they would like us to implement as early as, as late as yesterday. So I would ask the council, even though I know this is an important issue to the council, to allow us until April 24th to come back with a final presentation.
Okay. And a second by Councilman Euler. Any other questions, comments? There being none, please cast your ballot. That item passes for deferral. We would then be at any new business? Any new business to come before the council? All right. Councilmember Riggenbach.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. I put on council member's desk an announcement about the ICC Jim Maloof Legacy of Love of the Arts. It's going to be held at ICC on Monday night at 6:30. It's a benefit for St. Jude, which was also one of former Mayor Maloof's big loves. And again, as a family who's experienced the beauty of the work of St. Jude, personally, I can only tell you it's a well worthwhile cause, and it'll be a fun evening to boot. Thank you.
Councilmember Graham.
Mr. Chairman, I think most everybody around this horseshoe was quite disappointed to read that the Peoria Housing Authority is now being managed by the Springfield Housing Authority officials. Obviously, this is a problem. We appoint, this body appoints the PHA board members who in turn are supposed to oversee the operation of this integral part of our government. We have had some outstanding leadership at the Peoria Housing Authority in past years. I remember when Jim Maloof told some of the very fine folks that he appointed to the PHA Authority that we approved as a body, that the one thing he asked them to do was to help those people who needed public housing and to go do it. That was the one charge he gave them when he nominated them to be part of the Peoria Housing Authority. This is a disgrace, and everyone in this body should be upset about it. However, I do think we have a lot of hardworking PHA board members there. They're trying to do the right thing. Obviously, there's not the capacity within this community to run this properly, and that is another issue. I have asked the mayor and I've asked the manager to arrange for the PHA board or its designee to come and explain what is going on and make certain that we have a good plan of action. And on that note, Manager Urick, we were working on scheduling for that. Could you go ahead and elaborate?
We will. We've spoken with the board chair of the PHA, and they'll be available to be at the April 24th meeting to discuss this. So we'll put them on the agenda to come in and speak.
And one of the things that I'm going to ask for so that this doesn't happen again, and frankly, I think I have to assume some of the blame for this. We should get periodic reports from the PHA on how things are going, what their challenges are, et cetera, and we're just not getting that. I think to the extent that we really need it. And Manager, I'm thinking maybe we could have quarterly reports or even have the chairman come down and speak to us. The operation of the of our PHA is very important to some of the neediest among us, and we need to get this right once and for all. And thank you very much, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. Any other items of new business to come before us? There being none, we would be at citizens to address the council. And I've got a couple of cards. First up is Joyce Blumenstein. If you will, please give your address for the record, and we will put 5 minutes on the timer.
Thank you very much. Joyce Blumenstein, 2419 East Reservoir, Peoria. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and all of the council members. I'm here tonight just to give a shout out and a big thank you to the process that you all have done, and especially to the hard work of your administrator and the city staff regarding the garbage, recycling, and yard waste proposals. This has been exemplary, from the opportunities last year and the input on the website to the meeting at the Peoria Library. The whole process has brought many important issues out for public concern, and also the great amount of time and effort that you and staff have put into it. I'd like to add a few considerations now tonight, because I hope the public is tuned in and aware that you all are going to be voting on this soon. And there's a lot more besides the dollars and cents. Dollars and cents are critical, and I thank the city staff and the administrator for really looking at this closely and showing us there are alternatives, and alternatives that can not only cost less, but also make maximum usage of our great city staff. Personally, I've been amazed and impressed and constantly surprised at how well the snow removal has gone. I have just the best respect for our city work on that. And I think the idea of balancing out winter workers, trucks, and equipment with the summer pickup for yard waste, and then handling recycling on our own is well thought out and well worth supporting. There are good reasons for that, because when the city handles our recycling, there is much better transparency than we've ever had currently, or that we will ever have under any contractor, whatever company takes it over. That is because the city not only can be FOIA'd by citizens, but the city people will report, I'm sure, much more regularly than the once-a-year reporting that PDC currently gives to the city. We have no feedback as far as consumers who participate in recycling other than one annual figure. How much plastic, how much paper, how much cardboard? Where are the figures that encourage us as citizens to improve the participation rate in Peoria and to do better? We all know we can do better. I'm sure you and I are all weary of hearing about across the river, but you do know that East Peoria is having mandatory recycling. Everybody's going to do it. Everybody's going to have the same toters, and they're going to make it work. I think we can make it work better here in Peoria. I think we can make it work better by having the garbage pickup handled by one entity and giving our city the opportunity to shine, which I am confident it will, with handling our recycling and yard waste. There are economies for us as citizens to see in that. It is also a good opportunity for us to do better as a city, to work more closely with each of you and city staff, to do better in our participation rate for recycling, and to do better for what we all as rightful citizens and people who care about this city can do in more conscienceable actions toward our yard waste, whether it's composting or minimizing, whatever we can do to improve city and the quality of life here. And it's not just the quality of life for all of us. We as citizens have a responsibility to the future generations, and I mentioned to our environment and our planet. That is all part of what recycling is about. That is a higher calling than a few cents a month. And I do want to thank the efforts you have all made, and thank city staff and the administrator. There is wonderful options for you, new options for new opportunities to do better as a community. And I urge your every consideration of dividing the contract, garbage on one contract, and that the city will handle the recycling and the yard pickup. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Mary Hayes.
Good evening. My name is Mary Hayes, and this is coming from the heart. I do not have any representation on this council. My city council person, Denise Moore, has not been here in the last 2 meetings that I've attended. Now, we have a food crisis in District 1, and we have crime, and we have needs. We need houses to be repaired. We need not only the demolition of houses, but we need houses to be replaced so that we can support a grocery store like when Kroger's went out. I just am pleading with you today. The definition of stupidity is doing the same thing over and over and again and expecting this to get different results. I just don't know what to say to you people. Peoria needs leadership. They need a lot of things. But this council is just not giving it to them.
Any other citizens for comment tonight? There being none, do we have a need for an executive session? Okay, could I get a motion to adjourn by Councilman Euler, seconded by Council Member Turner. Please cast your ballots. That passes unanimously. Thank you. I'd like to again say have a great evening to our listening audience, and thank you for joining us for tonight's meeting.